We're all part of this dream.
We're gonna change the world.
For 10 years, Art and Seek has kept you on the pulse of the local arts community. From visual to performing arts, traditional to avant-garde, and emerging artists to celebrated masters, Art and Seek is your premier destination for the arts in North Texas.
Baby, give me a chance.
Art and Seek's award-winning journalists take you inside the mind of the artist to reveal their craft.
We're just improvising.
Good rhythm, really don't care. I can take the elevator, you can take the stairs. And good rhythm, killing my time. Little bit of luxury, I really don't mind. And baby, give me a chance. Baby, give me a chance. Baby, give me a chance. Or get off the floor if you're not gonna dance.
The arts are the soul of a vibrant society and are meant to be shared and celebrated. Art and Seek is proud to be a part of the North Texas arts community and share in its celebration with you.
Oh my gosh.
Good rhythm, good rhythm, good rhythm.
Good evening. I'm Jerome Weeks, Senior Arts Producer Reporter for KERA's Art and Seek. Thank you for coming. I'd like to thank our co-presenters for this panel this evening, the Kimball Art Museum for this fabulous facility, and TCU's College of Fine Arts. In the 1950s, Indianapolis nearly became a major jazz center. Could have changed jazz history in America. There were a whole bunch of major jazz artists who grew up there, lived there, knew each other. People like Freddie Hubbard, Wes Anderson. But it never happened. Now you might say, well, Indianapolis, early 50s, it's a little hub somewhere on the prairie. Of course it didn't happen. Actually, at the time, Indianapolis had more people in it than Austin did when Austin took off in 1980 with the whole, country rock, outlaw country, all of that. So it's not the number of people that mattered. It's not that they didn't have a sufficient audience for jazz in the 1950s in Indianapolis. A guy named Scott Timberg wrote a book called Culture Crash, and he talks about what makes an art scene happen at the beginning of the book. And what they lacked was simply a jazz club, the right kind of jazz club. Jazz club that would cater to the kind of trios and quartets they were doing, so small, intimate, but not so small that the club owner couldn't make money at it. And because of that club, because of that one thing, they all left. And they eventually created what is now known as the West Coast Sound, or what many people know as cool jazz. So that's all it takes, is one club. And that's what Timberg writes about. When we lose a bookstore, when we lose a musician's hangout and everything, we're not just moving, oh, that's our favorite bar or whatever. Frequently what we're losing is a cultural center. It really is. And these things are not official, they're impromptu, they just kind of develop that way. There's some place where people hang out. But they are cultural centers. And when they're gone, they change neighborhoods, they change cities. Indianapolis never became a great jazz center. The people we're going to be talking with tonight are people who are finding unconventional and innovative ways to bring artists together in Fort Worth. So I'd like you to welcome Susan Gruppe and Jessica Miller. They are the co-founders and co-presidents of M2G Ventures. It's a commercial real estate. Are you going to do this? Go ahead. Commercial real estate development and consulting firm. They are probably best known for developing the Foundry District, which they've told me is 100% occupied. And their new project is Kobe Mac, which is repurposing a macaroni factory. Next, Jonathan Morris established the Fort Worth Barbershop in 2014. It's not only a place, he says, where you can look good and feel good, it's also where conversations can happen. He started a second place called The Lathery, which you'll notice a kind of thread here, which is located in the Foundry District. Next, Red Sanders is the head of Red Productions. One of the leading commercial producers of media in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, everything from national commercials to web videos and feature films. He is also the head of the executive committee of the Fort Worth Film Commission, and he's the man behind Backlot, which is one of those co-working spaces where you can rent desks and things only there. You can also rent studio equipment. Finally, Noel and Sarah Viramontes are a married couple who took a 100-year-old two-story house and gutted it, painted it all black, live upstairs, and turned the first floor into one of the most interesting new venues for the arts in Fort Worth. So that's our panel. Jonathan, I wanted to start with you because I had a very interesting introduction to your work. I went to Black House for a concert, and on the porch was a man with a full old-fashioned barbershop chair and the grooming products and all of that, mirror and everything, and he was cutting hair. And this was at a concert, and I thought, this is really kind of cool. And then I thought, if I take a date to a concert, am I going to say, here, hold my beard, I'm going to get a shave? I mean, it seemed to make no sense to me at the same time. So it's a pop-up barbershop, and you've done this not just at Black House. Why are you doing this?
Absolutely. So the pop-ups were a way for us to go beyond just the four walls of our shop. People come in and out of the shop every day. And when it comes to the way that I feel about Fort Worth and things we want to do with our business, it's how do we collaborate with the community? How do we go beyond just the walls of this shop and really touch, connect with the city in an authentic way? When it comes to Black House, Noel and Sarah, they're friends and they're people that are doing, I think, really incredible things to bring people together and make cultures collide in their space. So I said, can we bring a chair and cut some hair? And they said yes. So.
And you do something besides just send a chair over. If you could run the video.
The color black, just I felt like it's attracted a lot of people that want change. I think a lot of people that they want to see something different through different eyes. Moved here from Los Angeles, and Fort Worth was pretty rough at the time. The city was kind of like in transition. So we moved to this neighborhood called Rock Island, which was, kind of blocks away from downtown. I've always loved this house as a kid. My mom and dad's house burned down, and I always thought this would be the next house that I would, want to live in. So we bought the house 6 years ago now. We bought the house in really good shape. So it took us 5 years to remodel the house. The vision was always like, this would be a great house, a great house, a great house. And then when we got closer to it, we started to see the real potential. It's like, man, this could be something totally different than just our house. The Black House is, it's a location, but I feel like it's like a movement of what we want to happen in the city, Like, hey, if you like art, we're celebrating that with you, what I'm saying? If photography and book signings. So I would say the Black House, man, is always changing, but at the same time, it's the movement of celebrating people's hard work and love. There needs to be an open mind to new business of color, man, backgrounds of beautiful people coming in and trying to change our city for the good. I think some people get scared of change. They don't want change because it scares them, where we should embrace it and be like, no, man, we need change. We need to learn from each other so we can, build the city into what it needs to be.
Now, your background is in marketing. You can't cut hair.
Yeah, you don't want me to cut your hair, Joe.
So my question is, when I saw that online, is why is a barber shop doing a promotional video for a music and arts venue?
Well, I think of the barbershop as a conduit in a lot of ways, and an opportunity to not just come and get a haircut, not just come and get a shave, but it's an opportunity for us to tell stories. It's an opportunity for us to, again, connect with the community and do it in a really authentic way. And you know, some of the brands that I most admire are brands that we all know what they do, but even more so, we know what they stand for, and we know what their soul is. And connecting with people like Noel in a video like that, and telling them the story of Black House, what it is, what it means, I think allows us to make not just transactional statements, but build relationships, and connect with people in a more emotional way. And tell them who we love, and tell them what we're excited about, and show Fort Worth in a light that I think a lot of us are really excited about.
Now, talk about an unconventional collaboration across art forms. Noel and Sarah, you took that house, as we saw, and turned it into this venue. And it's a real kind of homegrown, do-it-yourself. You didn't have experience in running clubs or things like that beforehand. What was the biggest hurdle, other than just the sheer raw work of doing that house on your own? What was the biggest thing that you didn't expect?
Just doing it, just starting off with our first event it fell in our lap. An artist across town just got put in a bind, and for us it was just able to receive that, and then also to just learning all the, just getting thrown into the fire, really. You get thrown into the fire, you're trying to figure stuff out, we have to figure out who's checking in, who's doing the media, who's doing all this stuff, like posting, who's doing all this. So that was the hardest thing at first, is just all the details, knocking out all the details, and also too, the pressure of not letting our friends down. That has always been kind of the first thing that really was a big hurdle for us, for sure. So.
Now, I've been there for a gallery opening party. Mm-hmm. I've been there for a DJ, a concert, and that's the kind of thing I would kind of expect. It's because you've cleared out all the space on that first floor. It's one big room, kind of like a gallery or a nightclub, but you've gone beyond that. You're doing something different this weekend, for instance.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're going to have our first official fashion runway, and right now as we speak we have about 11 models that are there, just practicing their walks, and it's what we love about this. It's man, people are really taking their project serious. They've been there the last 2 days, and for us we don't mind, because we know how much work it is to make a project actually go through. So for us, we love that people are thinking of the details. We love that they're thinking about what is it going to look like, what is it going to smell like when you walk up to the venue, who's going to greet you, what are the models wearing, the steps. You'll show up tomorrow and you'll think, man, they probably ran this once or twice, but man, these guys have been there
11 hours.
11 hours. Even our kids are showing up, grabbing milk out of the fridge, and there's lined up 10 models, so, and that's just a typical day at Black House, which we love so much, because that's what we've always wanted to do, is be, shoulder to shoulder with creatives. We wouldn't say creative, I don't think. I don't know, not as creative as our friends. Our friends are super creative.
We do want to make the platform for them, though.
I like to be, I grew up watching, Mike Tyson, and I love Mike Tyson, right? But Don King was that's who I wanted to be, because Don King could sell anything. That dude was he was just an overseller, and I love that, and I think that's why we got into this, is because a lot of our art friends, a lot of Latinos in neighborhoods that weren't really being, having a spotlight on them, we wanted to show that for them, there's some brothers on the east side that are like taking photos out of a warehouse, and they're amazing, you know. So we've always wanted to do that for them, and I've always wanted to be the, you know, Don King or this crazy promoter of arts, and that's what Black House has done to this point. You know.
And you kind of jumped on it a bit there, but you said your kids are getting milk out of the fridge. You guys live there too, right? Like,
yeah.
Cool community for your kids to see.
So we live there.
Upstairs.
I don't know if that was
upstairs.
supposed to be
No. You guys are good. You know, if you guys want to come hang out, you know, show downstairs and upstairs. You know, we'll hang out and sleep. And it's always been really cool to have that really mom and dad feel. You know, like every time I charge somebody, it's like I tell people, it's like, those $10 are going to our like electric bill and water bill. It's not, there's no hidden, like, we're not getting funded by anybody else. It's like literally going to pay us, to pay our bills. And it's funny, just being in this, it's like when you hear like talking to an artist and they say, hey, how you doing? Oh, everything's fine. Well, we've noticed like, it's fine like right now, but I know you have to sell another piece for it to be, you know, to just withstand. So and that's some of the biggest artists that we have learned that. So I don't know, we're pretty excited about.
We see their struggles now.
Yeah, we see their struggles. It's like, I quit my job in January to do this full time, and it's man, it's every day you're looking for the next thing and the next thing, which is, it's awesome because it gives us energy as well too, because man, people are so passionate about like their work, and they're so passionate about like making us even look good. And I'm just like, man, we don't need the spotlight. You know, this is weird. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
One of the most interesting things about the place to me is that it's hard enough just getting a nightclub going up, you know, and getting a music crowd to know that this is a place. But you guys are basically attracting all sorts of different crowds at different levels at different times. I mean, how does that even work? You've got art crowd, you have music crowd, now you're doing fashion.
When I was, some of my friends, one of my good friends is up on the front row. In my neighborhood, there was a community center, you know, like you were just talking in the intro. And that's where a lot of our parents hung out, and a lot of the grandparents hung out, and it was the community, you know, with development. And, you know, sometimes our city rips out those things first. There was a big void in our neighborhood, you know, there was a big, where do we go now? You know, like, man, I don't know, like, I don't know if I can go talk to this person anymore, because we used to all hang out there, like on a Tuesday. So shows that we've done have always made us like super happy when we can get people that come out their doors with other people from across town and people say, hey, is this a nightclub? It's like, no, it's not a nightclub. We're trying to create like a community art center, you know, in a neighborhood that would never have it. And again, they would, some of these local neighborhoods that have amazing artists, they come and share their art with us, and we're just like, man, I'm so thankful that we are a bridge to something big like this. You know, we're able to spotlight you here, and eventually somebody's going to notice how good you are, and eventually, you know, we're super thankful for that. You know, so.
One of the evenings I was there, it seemed perfectly organic in a way. There was a gallery opening party, and there were tables in the backyard, and people, essentially artists and their families, kids and everything, they were eating. There was a taco maker there too, and so they were basically having dinner and talking and everything. And they kind of, as you might imagine with kids and everything, filtered out at 10 o'clock. Then after party, the DJ comes in, and there's a whole different line of people waiting to get in, and it just seemed perfectly organic. It's just like, all right, one shift is done, next shift comes in.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was kind of amazing. It just seemed perfectly natural, whereas a lot of people would struggle to try and make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up like that. That was our Saturdays with our family, you know, a cookout, or somebody's baby was having a birthday, but then it became all the uncles came over and we all hung out. And, you know, that was us, you know, and then also too, neighbor kids would show up and they would eat our food, and then we'd go eat some of their food, and it was just community that doesn't happen anymore. And that's something that, again, I think with development and ripping out those communities because we're trying to make a buck, we're losing that, you know, and I think that's why we see that void, so that's why we have taken advantage of that. Sure.
Sarah, Jessica. You're doing something similar, but in a very commercial way. You're trying to redevelop older buildings and turn them into kind of art centers. Can you explain how that works as a sort of investment project and something you can actually sell to people?
It's very difficult.
Yeah. I'll say, so we typically invest in areas, at least on our investment side, where we're going in areas that, unfortunately for us, there's not people like Noelle and Sarah. You're looking at a really blank slate and going, okay, I know this is a central location, I know there could be something really interesting, but it needs to feel bigger, more branded, more of a story behind it for people to want to gravitate to it, for us to attract people like Jonathan to want to put his shop there. And when we do that, we typically think, what's the first thing that we can do to really make a big impact? And that usually is public art, community building, events, a branded story that a lot of real estate developers kind of go, well, we tell the story once we've figured out what it wants to be. And usually what it figures out what it wants to be is not necessarily what the consumer wanted it to be. That's what I would say maybe the commercial side of it wanted it to be.
Or the neighborhood wanted it to be.
So we try and put in what we think is going to be the driver or the energy or the passion behind the area and what's going to make people want to go there first before we even start leasing projects or before we start doing anything
Well, and
else.
something you said when we were walking out, you're talking about cultural centers and what a lot of the creatives and innovators in our community, thank goodness, and then other communities around the United States and the world have done is they've established cultural centers. So I saw Jonathan the other day. I walked into Craftwork. It's another cultural center that we have in Fort Worth, and I saw way too many people that I knew, and I said, thank God, no one's mad at me right now. You just have the opportunity to collaborate on such a different level from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. You just have the opportunity to do so many things and make such an impact in your community and make innovative choices and intentional choices that we as creatives, business owners, entrepreneurs would not get without those. It just establishes a platform for it that you can make like this as Jonathan and I get into our rhythm and we ideate back and forth and then things happen. We were all backstage to us 6 talking, we have like 75 ideas that watch out on social media, new stuff coming. What those do, they provide such a platform for innovation and opportunity and creativity and just a whole nother way of being able to look at where things are and say, why can't they be different? Or what do we like and we don't?
Is there some sort of mix you shoot for, or is it just trial and error?
Oh man, there's a lot of trial and error. I will say we tend to give people as much of what they think that they may want, but also they may have no idea that they want it. And then let them pick and choose, and then you kind of adapt to that. We've been fortunate to be able to say, hey, we're not going to put ourselves in a box. And I think that's what a lot of real estate developers do. That's where a lot of people that are starting their own businesses do. And they say, I'm going to go within these 4 walls and I'm going to make these decisions based off of this pro forma. We know if we're able to look at 1 + 1 = 4 and someone can't really put their hand on the secret sauce, then that's the best thing. So we've really tried to push the envelope even for ourselves. Susan and I will come up with an idea, or we'll meet with some of our friends and say, hey, this is an idea we want to talk about. It's a very collaborative nature. And we'll go, okay, what was the best idea? Let's go 10-fold forward to that. What's the weirdest thing we could do about that? And see if it works. What we've understood about Fort Worth is that for it being such a conservative city, it's actually very artistically embraceful. If you look at the group that's on the panel, you have everything from people that have opened up their home in an event venue that you explain that to people that are not from here, and they're like, what?
They live there?
Why?
It makes sense.
Why?
It sounds awesome. To Red doing that for productions and Jonathan doing that for barbershop marketing. Being a city spokesperson, you can't really put your finger on it, but everyone has embraced it here so far, and I think that's just because people for so long haven't decided to do it for themselves. They've decided to let somebody else do it.
Well, I think the biggest thing for us, and this is not like not a competition on who's the least coolest up here on the stage, but I would argue it would be us. And what we are probably our biggest laser focus is finding people with unique point of view. So with the artists, for example, we're blessed to work with one of the top artists in the country, Katie Murray. She's in the room. She's amazing. So many people on this stage, they have a unique point of view that you want to be a part of whatever they're doing. It doesn't matter that it's been tried 75 other times or it's been in other cities. Like, you see that person, you see their concept, and you know, like, you want to be shoulder to shoulder with them. And that's probably out of everything that we talk about, like, the commonality within our developments is we find literally partners that, like, I don't really care what this guy wants to do. I know that he's on it, and I'm going to do whatever I can to support what he's doing.
I'll kind of add one more thing to that. Sorry, we're iterative speakers.
Yeah.
It's like 32 years of weird dialogue. But
Yeah.
what we've also seen is that this class of people that's emerged in Fort Worth, they really embrace collaboration. I would say 40, 50 years ago, even 20, 30 years ago, it was more about, like, what's my piece of the pie? How can I make this my thing? What everyone on this stage and probably what everyone in this room has learned, and anybody who's doing anything that is actually resonating with people, is they're inviting other people to share in that success and share in this idea isn't going anywhere unless all of us decide to do it. And there's projects that you can see in Fort Worth, you can see that around the country, and every single one, that's probably the thing that resonates most successful, is that they didn't try and make it themselves.
Because you're involved in investment and development, I have a cynical question for you. I know, surprise coming from me.
Fair enough.
How much is your success tied to this creativity, the wall murals, the kind of people, the mix of the shops, and how much is it tied to the fact that it's a very hot market right now? I mean, 7th Street, Magnolia Avenue, all these places that are booming. I was showing your website to a friend, and he said, yeah, well, right now you can practically sell anything in that market.
I'll give you a cynical response back.
Surprise.
Yeah, I would say we happen to be lucky, thank God, that we're in a market that is, you know, it's one of the top markets in the country. But I would tell you what we're doing is what every real estate developer has been talking about doing, and they're now just like, oh God. I mean, you've got people that, like, they have no clue what's happening in retail, in real estate development today, because things are changing so quickly. And we so happen to be lucky enough that we are in a market that's good. We're surrounded by people that are creative, and that's in vogue. It is in vogue. It's in vogue to be different. It's in vogue to be local. It's in vogue to do things that the community wants. It's not so much of what Jessica said earlier, like, my piece of the pie, and, like, I'm going to do what everyone else is doing, and because it's in favor, not necessarily from kind of what we talked about earlier, was like, it's almost, we're an inclusive crowd, but it almost feels exclusive. Like, you talk about, this is a provocative statement that we talked about a lot, like this creative group that's here right now, we're super inclusive, everybody come on, but there are people that aren't in this room that feel excluded by us. Like, we happen to be doing something that the people that aren't a part of feel that we're doing something that is so unique and different and they want to be a part of. And so, yes, we happen to be lucky enough that we're in a market that, yes, we've been able to make money, and 100% of our success is tied to the people that we decide to lock arms with, and that's why we're in the people business.
Can I add to that? You know, these two women are dynamic, and I admire them so much, and they inspire me as my landlord. That's how I get my rent have to go up next time, right?
Yeah.
But I think that what's interesting about what they're doing right now is they are playing in what historically has been a man's world, right? And what's happening is they have come to the table and they're bringing a new perspective, and they're thinking about real estate, one of the most boring things you can think of. They're thinking about it in a new, fresh way, and they're bringing other people to the table with them and saying, hey, you know what? We could lease this spot out to, you know, some big box, you know, Subway or whatever, right? But instead, they're saying, what is our long game? And how can we bring the Jonathans of the world along this, you know, my little space?
Did they approach you, or did you approach them?
That's a tough question. So I think technically what happened was somehow we were lucky enough that Jonathan said he wanted to meet with us because he's a connector. He's a people person. Like, I'm an introvert technically. And he approached us, and then he walked into the room, and I quickly realized how cool he was, and like, okay, I gotta fake this till I make this. And we ended up collaborating, and it's just like with anything. Like first time I met Noelle, like I knew immediately, like I don't know what's going to happen in our lives, but I know that we're going to be in support of each other, and that's how things start.
I read an article about you guys, and somebody had told me before that I needed to meet you. And then I read this article, and I'm like, they're just throwing murals up on everything. They're collaborating with interesting people. I was like, I want to know them. And at the time, I didn't have any projects in order, but we connected. And then when I did have a project in order, I hit them up and was like, yo, like I want to do a little soap store called The Lather. You got some spaces to show me?
We're like, bingo, we do. I will say too, though, to kind of answer like your first question. When we first started, though, I would say every single person was like, I don't really know what they're doing, but it's weird. They're putting some paint on some stuff. They're trying to lease some space. They're talking a lot about storytelling and branding and things like that, but they're dealing with some really ugly ass buildings, and I don't really know. But so what's happened to become a trend recently, I would say, you know, we're lucky that we are a part of that, but it wasn't like it was what we started out thinking, hey, let's hop on this bandwagon. We just knew Fort Worth was poised for it, and we wanted to be a part of it, and we wanted to be able to say, you know, we're going to make a difference for the city that we love. And that's why we did it, and that's why we're continuing to do it with this, what we're doing now, with what we're doing with the stockyards, which they're leading a whole cultural revelation that will be completely different. That is something that all of us will be lucky to see, and we're lucky to be a part of. But I think the more people in Fort Worth that can embrace the fact that like you got to put your money where your mouth is, and you have to embrace the change, and you got to bring other people along for the ride, and figure out how all of you can make, you know, more than 100%. That's how our city is going to be different.
And I think the last thing I'll say in closing is good luck follows hard work. And every single person on this stage is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, we're working our butts off, and yes, there's reasons why we happen to be successful related to the market or whatever it is, but we're all working super hard, so good luck will come our way.
Speaking of hard work, have worked almost your entire life trying to encourage film production in Fort Worth. And one of the things that distinguishes you, I gather, from everyone else here, is that part of your work is getting tax dollars to support that effort. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. I mean, well, and I guess many industries have different types of incentives. So
right.
We're not alone in that, but...
So last year, the Republican legislature basically zeroed out the Texas support of films, and then Governor Abbott put it back to $22 million. It's still much lower than what it used to be. $95 million was
yeah,
what
it's
it was.
32 right now.
32. It's what it, 95 under Rick Perry.
Yeah.
What is the point of encouraging film production as opposed to encouraging music clubs?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's 40 different states in the U.S. with film incentives. They're rebates really after you come and create jobs there. And we actually were just looking back at the historical numbers this week, and we saw that, yeah, whenever you look at the period of time where there was about 95 million out there to incentivize productions to come here versus Louisiana, New Mexico, Oklahoma, they're all nearby. There was 5 or 6 times the amount of jobs created here. Versus in the most recent, they do it in 2 years biennium, that was, you know, like 4 times less. So it makes a big difference as far as, you know, which films and TV shows will come to town, because they're so transient. They can go anywhere and shoot and set up. They bring their own lights, power, bathrooms. We don't need full brick and mortar places. We need to film in them, but it's not a 5-year lease, so.
So tell me about a media production development zone.
Yeah.
And what that means for the South Side?
For the South Side, yeah. In fact, we just found out, got the letter from the Office of the Governor and the Texas Film Commission a couple days ago that we have it officially approved. That the Near South Side TIF is now the second only
What's
media
a TIF?
production.
What's a TIF?
tax incremental fund. Yeah, the city's broken up into these different districts. So it's the south side and a little bit further in the tip. But yeah, it's the second only media production development zone now in Texas, and we're so thrilled to have it here in Fort Worth. And we couldn't have done it. I mean, it was not just us. It was a joint effort with the city's economic development department. City council voted on it first before it went to the state. So it's really cool to see the support locally for that.
What's the point?
What's the point? The point of the zone specifically is to incentivize people to come and actually build those brick and mortar places here, to build things that actually provide more long-term employment. We've been in business here for 13 years and employing people full time, and so we're not that group that just comes into town and films something and leaves. So it's a different type of incentive that says like, hey, if you'll build something here, tangible and real, then it provides it makes it where we don't have to pay sales tax when we build it. Other than that, we pay all the normal taxes after that. So
Tangible and real in what way? Other than a studio?
Yeah.
I mean, what would
that's it.
That's it?
Yeah. Walls, lights. Yeah.
If people can bring all their own equipment and everything, why do they need a studio here at all?
Yeah, because you do still need, in a lot of times, a specialized space to create in. Like, there's a lot of times where you could just roll up and say, we need to film this scene in a coffee shop, so we're not going to build a whole coffee shop set. We're going to go to a local coffee shop, pay them, to rent their space for the day. But there's a lot of other times where you actually need to control the set, or the lighting, or the sound especially. And so in a studio, you can have that control.
So the media production zone, the hope is that it will become a hub of media production, different companies and everything. But I gather that it's also, the hope is that will spark real estate development in the general area.
Yeah, the cool thing about the zone is it's not just for our company. It's really to bring our competitors into the city as well. And we like that because we think all boats rise with the tide. So, the zone approved that's in place now is for 3 different companies to build out in the south side. So we're only one, so there's 2 more out there. Come on.
2 more out there, like from outside the state, or?
Yeah, wherever.
For where?
They could be here in town. They could be anywhere as long as they're coming here and building something. So
What would be ideal? What would be the thing that you would hope for?
I think it's really cool seeing what's happening already in the south side. We moved in over here on West 7th 10 years ago, and it was all like machine shops and metal working factories, and that was fun for a bit, but it's a lot more fun now to have other creative shops around us. And it's really neat seeing what's already been, the fabric of the south side there that near south side has worked on for so long. And there's other great companies down there already. Theater, like Amphibian Stage. Niles City is a really cool, music venue, music recording studio. So I think, it could be other, types of things in media, or it could be another production company. It's like, whatever.
Noel and Sarah, when I try to tell people about Black House, they get excited, and then when I try to explain where it is, I generally get lost, and so do they. They don't understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Part of your success, in a way, is this island that you're near downtown. It would seem to be incredibly convenient, but in a way, you're secluded. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're surrounded by trains. So if you show up at the wrong time, you're going to get stuck behind a train.
The neighborhood's called Rock Island.
Yeah, it's Rock Island, and I love that you say that. I love that I've said that plenty of times now. I hear that back, and I'm like, wow, it's not dead. Like, it's really alive.
It's still here.
So, it's a neighborhood, again, it's, going through development. A couple apartments came up, and banners went up, and they were trying to change the name. And for me, it's like, I was always raised there, and I've always, I survived the bad times of the neighborhood. I survived seeing a lot of my friends and a lot of our friends not make it out of this neighborhood. So for me, it's like, it means a lot that our city is saying the name and not letting this place die. But again, it's other neighborhoods like this that are fighting that same fight. It's like, what makes Fort Worth? I think it does. I think it is the north side. I think it is the east side. I think why is Stop 6 called Stop 6? Why is these different neighborhoods, why do they have these nicknames? You know, it's like, I think if you don't know the history of Fort Worth, man, we can't know the present and we can't know the future of Fort Worth, you know? So it's very important. I love it when you say, I love when everybody else says it. Makes me happy. I can go to sleep good, so. Yeah.
It's called Rock Island because literally it was a train loop for the Rock Island Railroad Company. And that's why it's isolated, because it's in this loop of trains. I interviewed them for the radio, and so while I was interviewing them, it was pause, the train would go by, we would talk, pause, train would go by,
Man,
pause.
try talking to girls on the phone when you're like 13 or 14, and it's like, all right, like you have to like hide under the blankets and stuff, and yeah, so it was rough growing up there, for sure.
You put it on mute.
Yeah, mute.
What initially possessed you to start a barbershop when you have no background in barbershop? I mean,
I do have background in barbershop.
You've had your haircut.
I've had my haircut a couple times. So I moved to Fort Worth officially in 2012. My wife and I got married. My family is all from Fort Worth. My parents are right there. My grandparents are all from Fort Worth. And in 2012, when I moved here, I was working in Dallas commuting and getting my hair cut at a barbershop in Dallas. One day, the barber that I was going to, he raised his prices. And I probably could have afforded to continue going, but I was like, let me see what we got in Fort Worth. What's the barbershop situation like in Fort Worth? And so I started looking around, and I didn't see anything that particularly appealed to me. And then I started asking around. And when I started asking around to friends and people that I knew in Fort Worth, you know, where do you go to the barbershop, or who cuts your hair? Everyone was just very apathetic. It was apathetic about their barbershop experience, and nobody to me was like, oh, you got to check out this place, you got to check out this guy. And so I started looking around the world, like literally around the world, like when I say around the world, on YouTube, like looking.
We went to a barbershop in Rome.
Yeah.
Research.
Yeah. So I was looking at these shops on the West Coast in LA and New York, in Italy, in Paris, and I'm like, man, like this is really cool barbershop vibes all over the place. At the same time, I'm living in Fort Worth, and it's the city that everybody's saying, it's just a big city, and you know, it's growing. And I'm like, we don't have anything that looks like these places that I'm seeing all across the globe. And I've always been entrepreneurial. And in 2013, 14, when I first got this idea, I just felt like it was a void, like a gaping hole in Fort Worth. And not that there weren't barbershops, but the barbershops that I was seeing, I didn't see it in Fort Worth. And so I said, how can I, take what I'm doing in my day job, working in the ad agency world, and helping brands tell stories online, how can I apply that to this old school model of a barbershop and overlay those things? And that's kind of how it started.
I'd like to take some questions from the audience. Now we've got some time for anyone. Yes, ma'am. What's next?
We're going to buy more buildings, probably.
Yeah. And I will tease this out there, but you will see collaboration with Red coming soon. Yeah.
Oh, Red.
And
At some point.
and we're going to build a building. We are building a building right now, a new studio on the south side, and it'll be an expansion too of a creative co-working space that we're doing called the Backlot. And then on our film company too, we've really kind of charted a new course for that recently. After doing 6 feature films, kind of like learning a lot, we've realized like we really want to kind of pick a lane. So creatively, like we're really interested now in like films about Texas and/or films with a positive theme. So that's kind of our future side on the film.
I can tell you every single person on this stage has a better version of themselves they're trying to beat. So they're trying to up their game every time. And for all of us, I know there's an idea in their head that they're working on that is bigger and better than what you've seen.
No, I'm perfect. Just as I am. Noel, Sarah, what's next for you guys, other than the fashion show tomorrow?
Man, there's some good stuff. We're going to work till the end of the year. We're taking January and February off to just finish our house. What happened was it became too popular and we didn't finish it. So when you guys show up and there's like a missing board right there, that's it was part of the plan. We wanted to bring you guys with us, the process, right? But yeah, it's definitely just going back and restructuring the way we do business. We've learned so much from people up here, our friends out there. First of all, I just want to go back and thank the Kimball for this amazing opportunity. I mean, we have so many friends that have come before us that, man, I wish Black House was here 10 years ago, because just hearing their stories about man, it was just me, and you guys are so lucky right now to have a group of you guys do what you do. It's man, you guys are fueling each other. And back in 10, 15 years ago, it was just me, man. Nobody really did anything. So again, what I said before is man, if you don't know the past, you can't know the present, and you can't know the future. And that's very important. I got a lot of people in this room that are really special to us that have worked with us. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, but we're they're our sisters and our brothers, and we're not going to fight and cure relationship, because there's bigger things that are coming next year. And next year we're going to add some stuff to Black House that, again, it's not for us to be stronger, it's for Fort Worth to be stronger. It's for all these collectives that are working their butts off to be, just a better spotlight and just, I guess, a bigger impact.
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
Fort Worth, over the last 30 years, has grown. We've doubled in size. I can remember, a little bit older than y'all, I can remember back in the 70s, it was really cool to be in Fort Worth. Great music, great art, and now that I'm looking around, I hope it's coming back, but we're really pushing to bring more people to Fort Worth. Does that matter to you in your artistic endeavors growing up in this community?
I mean, yeah, you mentioned the Kimball too, and growing up here, my mom's an artist, and we used to come to Kimball and all the art museums here every weekend instead of hopping in front of the TV. So the art scene here has been a huge part of my journey, and while I'm not, actually painting or even operating the camera now, it's being part of the creative industry is really exciting, and seeing how it's grown in Fort Worth gives me a lot of excitement about the future. So.
I would say too, all the things that we do, whether or not be someone coming to visit Jonathan at the Lathery or at the barbershop, or coming to Noel's, Black House events, coming to do a film with Red, or coming to one of our developments, we need more creativity, we need more artisticness, we need more people that are more progressive and that are pushing the envelope for the entire city to be better. Stagnant growth is stagnant growth, and we could be like every other city, but if we're able to continue to attract people who are going to be like the people in this room and push the envelope and try and bring something new and different, all of our things that we are doing in a black and white way are going to be more profitable and better. I mean, they're going to be better for everybody. And I always tell people, they're like, why are you interested in art? Why are you interested in music? Because all those things are they're attracting the people that are going to come and buy goods and services from the businesses that are here. They're going to come work at, XYZ headquarters that is here. And at the end of the day, we do real estate, which houses those people. So everybody's got to pull their part and be moving towards that direction of progressive art, culture, in order for our city to be different than everybody else. So.
Yeah, we have a slippery slope in that we could be at the 10% of our potential, or we could be at the 90% of our potential, and it's up to the people in this room to decide where we are.
Exactly.
You can hold your questions and ask our panelists in a few minutes, because we'll be going upstairs and continuing the conversation about the population. I just want to make one final point. If you remember what I said earlier about Indianapolis and Austin and their population, out of curiosity, I checked the population figures. Fort Worth is actually much smaller then. But right now, Austin, Indianapolis, and Fort Worth are within less than 100,000 of each other. So it's not the number of people in a city. It's what they're doing and how well they're connected that make a difference.
It was an interesting study too, where they surveyed people nationwide, and most people thought on average Fort Worth was the 42nd largest city. It's like the 15th or something.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
And right now, I'd like to introduce Mitch Whitten of Visit Fort Worth. He's the man responsible for the after party.
Hi, it's great to be here with you tonight. Would you first join me in thanking the Kimball for supporting this? It's important that our legacy institutions like the Kimball support all this new creative energy. We talked about collaboration. So Eric Lee, you and your team, thank you very much for sponsoring. You know, welcoming people to Fort Worth has always been a really easy invitation. An early downtown in the Renaissance of the 90s and last 10 years, the stockyards, and then, of course, the Cultural District. And the Kimball with Michelangelo's first painting. When you're in our business, traveling the world to shine a beacon on Fort Worth, those are great calling cards. But in last year, the city and you helped welcome a record 9.1 million visitors that helped our economy and took the word about Fort Worth back home. But we realized that something was missing, that we have a lot of great places to visit, but we realized that the people make the place. And so we've been trying to do a better job at Visit Fort Worth, your tourism bureau, and telling the Fort Worth stories. So I want to show a little video first before we go to the reception, and I'll introduce you to those folks as well. But a little video that tries to shed a light on some of those people. You've met many tonight. In the video, you'll see the world champion boxer who hangs out downtown. You'll see the studio that discovered Leon Bridges, the up-and-coming singers and songwriters, and just a little bit of what we're taking on the road.
People live in Fort Worth because they want to live here, because it's a place to call home.
The energy, the vibe, the music, the culture make it a really, really special place.
The variety here is amazing.
Got a lot of stuff from the 1800s all the way up to today.
You can actually come and see an object firsthand.
There are cowboys here, there are like artists here, there's like fashion here, there's kind of a little bit of everything.
You know, it's laid back, everybody seems pretty chill with one another.
Fort Worth is rich in culture.
It's not unheard of to see a man in a cowboy hat and boots next to a guy covered in tattoos, next to a hipster, next to a mom with her kids, all at the same concert at Botanic Garden.
We've got sports, we have culture, we have great people that live here.
We're still a close-knit community, like we're brothers and sisters in a way. You know, we're helping each other out to succeed.
People who just you feel like you'd have nothing in common with, when they find out that you care about something, they're just like immediately supportive.
It doesn't matter if you got, $1 million or $5. People are just down to help out someone who's doing something interesting.
Because I think everyone here realizes that like the more we help each other, the more elevated all of us become.
I want to recognize our friend, the great photographer Rambo, who really had the line of the night. Thank you, Rambo. Who said at the end, when we all work together, we all rise together. And so you're welcome to go see those videos at fortworthstories.com. There's about 15 streaming, and we have many more stories to tell. So we have a reception that we're proud to sponsor. Thank you, Kimball, for the invitation. Here's who you're going to meet, if you have not met them already. Kyle Slater is an up-and-coming chef who quit his job as a healthcare recruiter to be a chef, and he's working out of the Locavore Kitchen on the south side. He's got some appetizers for you. Drink to go along with it, Ali Ochoa, the whiskey scientist at Firestone and Robertson. We have a DJ from Neon Indian, Jason Ferries. We have Gabe Williams, the Nike executive, who has started a new shoe line called Davi in Fort Worth. We're all excited about that. And if we're going to welcome a new creative class of visitors, we've got to have the hotels to go with it. And we're learning that even the Stockyards can change, and Dina Newell from the Stockyards is going to show you the new first modern boutique hotel in Fort Worth, the Hotel Drover. So please join us after for the reception, and thanks for having us.
Thank you.